English time, my people. Good night, everybody. It's time to practice. Where are you? There you are. Hello. English time. English time. Okay, let's continue our training using where we left off yesterday. Yesterday we were building sentences using the passive form of some of the sentences that we have here, original sentence from you, and then we are going to try to use this in a conversation. So let's try to do it. Number one, the first one is going to be actions that happened. We're going to talk about past. Let's try to build that. Okay, so who wants to start? Do we have a volunteer, or shall I select it? What do you want?
Sorry?
So should I choose who starts, or do we have a volunteer? I will choose it. I will definitely choose it. You need to wake up. Let's go to Mitch. Yesterday you did the interrupted actions one, but there was a lot of correction. So let's begin with you. Give me a passive voice about something that happened in the past. Here's your set of ideas.
Hello.
Hi, good night.
Good night. Maybe they were arrested yesterday.
They were what?
Arrested?
They were arrested yesterday? Interesting.
Arrested yesterday.
Oh, arrested.
Arrested. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Arrested.
All right. Arrested. Let's try again. They were arrested yesterday. Why were they arrested? At what time were they arrested? Give me a little bit more context.
In the mall.
Okay, they were arrested yesterday in the mall. And that's it?
Yes.
Yes. Well, you are right. Definitely. Good. We are talking about yesterday, and this is the way you can associate this structure with past. Of course, we're talking about actions that happened, so we use the verb were or the verb be in past using were. Good job. Let's talk about the next one. In the next one, we have experiences in your life in recent past and time periods. Let's talk about that now. Carla, I'm going to teach you how to identify this particular formula using the structure handbook. Okay? In the structure handbook, we have a couple of structures that are not that easy to identify. Okay. Look at this. Experiences in your life, recent past, and periods of time are called like that because of the context when we need to use this structure. According to the structure handbook, we use auxiliary have and has to talk about these three contexts, plus the verb in past participle. So if you're talking about experiences in your life, for example, imagine something that you have done only once in your life. Tell me an example of something you have done once in your life. Even in my question, I have this expression. Something you have done once in your life. Do you have an example?
Maybe play a guitar or try to play a guitar. It's only
Okay.
one time in my life.
Can you say that again? There was a microphone issue.
I did I played a guitar once time in my life.
Okay, perfect. So that structure cannot be expressed with simple past because you are not talking about a specific time.
Mhm.
You know, we are talking about your life in general. That's why we need to use auxiliary have
Okay.
plus past participle. So rebuild the
Mhm.
sentence.
I have played.
Eliminar.
I have been
Uh-oh. Eliminate bin.
past participle verb. No, it's a verb. I have played
Perfect.
a guitar once time in my life.
Exactly. That is an experience in your life. You
Okay.
see? The reason I am teaching you this right now is because it's very easy to confuse simple past versus auxiliary have and past participle. They are two different structures that are used in two different contexts, right? The context of have and has is about experience in life, but not only. As you can see, I included all other two, right? Recent past is also used when you are talking about things that happened seconds ago. So you say, I have just finished my exam, for example. This happened 2 seconds ago. It's incorrect to say I finished.
Okay.
You see?
Okay. Yes.
And then the second way, on periods of time, I can talk about something that has happened during a specific period of time.
For example, in this will be I have learning. No, I have learned
Excellent.
English during 2 weeks, for example.
Perfect. The thing is about the verb learn, this verb
Mhm.
cannot be periods of time because you don't learn the whole time. You learn in steps.
Okay.
But the verb study, yes,
So,
this
okay.
is something that can be during a period of time. So you need to pay attention on the definition of the verb,
Okay. Yes.
right? Try again the example.
I have studied
Uh-huh.
English during 2 weeks.
Perfect. That's it. Those examples that you just made are active voice, a normal sentence, as we say. Now let's use this structure with any of these contexts to build a passive sentence.
Maybe maybe I have infected by coronavirus or for coronavirus. It's right to say this.
Oh, interesting. Okay, build the sentence again.
I have infected.
Have infected. That is,
No.
you forgot one very important component of passive voice.
Been, verb,
Exactly.
have been.
Perfect. One more time.
I have been infected by coronavirus or for coronavirus.
You tell me which
For?
one. Wrong.
No.
You have it.
By, yes.
Exactly.
Mhm.
One more time.
I have been infected by coronavirus.
Perfect. How long ago? Because if you are talking about, if you tell me this, automatically I'm going to understand recent past. So give me
Mhm.
a time expression.
Recently, it's
Perfect. I like it. That is the way you can correct your structures. You see? And now you are building, you are going a step further, understanding passive voice. Good job.
thank you.
Let's go to the next one. Okay. Actually, let's continue on this one. Here we have recent past. Okay. Carla gave us one with recent past. Would you be able to use passive voice talking about time periods? Let's try, for example, with yes. Give me one example using any of these verbs talking about time periods. How would you do that? Are you there? Yes. I cannot hear your microphone. Oh, but you don't have microphone. Oh, there you are. Is your connection okay? Can you speak? Ooh, okay, we have some technical issues. I get it, I get it. Okay, let's wait for a moment till Jesse fixes the microphone. Ah, it's my microphone. Okay, well, then make an example on the chat. Okay, privately. Meanwhile, she does that. We're going to go on with the next ones. Let's go with modal verbs. And this is going to be a review, a general review on modal verbs. Okay. If you go to your structures handbook, open your structures handbook and go to context number 7, you will see all the different situations in which every modal occurs. Will has different usages, would has different usages, and so on. Tell me an example using any modal, and let's begin with Brian. Brian, give me an example using any modal. I suggest to use one that we saw yesterday on the video, but you can actually use any of the one you would like.
Okay.
I want to make it smaller.
What?
Yeah, I want to make it smaller so you can see both, but that's impossible. In a moment, I show you the other one.
Okay. Um, for for video games, do you use released also?
Yes, of course.
Okay. um, Grand Theft Auto 6
Mhm. Mhm.
should should be released soon.
Mm, very nice. I like it. Good. Good, good, good. That's the name of a video game. And of course, he's using should. I like it. Very nice. Try another one. Go, Elsie. Give me one using a modal.
I was thinking mm, the curve
Yeah. The
can
what?
curve can be flat, flatted, flat. Flatted? No.
Okay, there are two words that I don't understand. The word core and the word latte. I don't know what
Uh,
you said.
curve.
Curve.
Yes, curve.
Okay, the curve
Uh-huh. Can be
can be
let me check the vocabulary.
sure.
Flat with flat. Oh no. Oh yes, regular. Flattened. Is it
Oh,
correct? Is it? No.
okay. Yes, you're talking about the coronavirus video.
Yes.
Okay, flatten ends in N.
Yes.
So
Flat,
the ed, how does it sound when the ed comes after an N?
flat, sorry. Can you repeat? I didn't.
Yeah, after the N, the E doesn't sound.
Okay.
Flattened.
Flatten. Mm, flatten.
Yeah.
Yep.
Give me a final D. Flattened.
Flattened.
Perfect. Perfect. There we go.
The curve
Uh-huh.
can be flattened
Yes.
by I don't know how to say. Uh,
Like
mm, mm, this social distance.
yeah, social. Okay. Distant. Same. That's on the video actually.
Social distance. Distance. Distance.
Distance. Correct.
Distance.
That's because the verb distance is a verb. And you can transform it into a noun with ing.
Okay.
You see? And that is another correct. Very good.
Yes. Oh,
Yes, of course. Mhm.
I have doubt.
Yeah, you had doubts, but you were totally good job. Good job. So Elsie gave us an example with can. Brian gave us an example with should. What about would? What about could? What about might? Who has an idea? Let's go with Jimena. Give me one.
With which model?
Anyone. Any model you want.
Mm, gossip and past before past for structure 8.
Nope, we are talking about models.
Okay.
Structure 7.
Mm, the experiment. No. Food. No. Okay. mm, the experiment could be better if it if it mm, if it is modified.
Oh, okay. Okay, wait. You are using the auxiliary could, but your passive is here. Your passive is
Uh-huh.
it's modified. This passive belongs to structure 1, not structure 7.
Okay. The experiment is better since
Okay.
it it could have been modified.
Could have been. Oh, wow.
No.
Okay, but why are you using could have? What do you understand this
Could.
the exercise?
Yes, but this is hard for me. The passive voice, in special.
Why? This is your opportunity to solve these problems.
I don't understand the logic of passive voice.
Why not?
Mm,
Like it's
mm,
your opportunity to be more clear with you with the questions so you can understand it finally. So ask questions. What's the problem?
um, I don't understand the really difference between this and active voice. I cannot uh, comprehend well.
Okay. Do you remember the usages? These ones over here. Passive voice is used when? Do you remember any of this? If not, let's read it. Go.
Mhm.
So read it.
Okay. Passive voice is used when you want to emphasize the object of the verb, the person who was affected by the action, or B, when the subject is too obvious or irrelevant. How do we know the subject is
Yes.
irrelevant?
Understand. You need to understand, not to read, only to pronounce. What's
Uh-huh.
letter A? In letter A, we said when you want to emphasize the object of the verb, which is the person who was affected. In your example, for example, you actually did right. The experiment was
The
the part
object.
that was affected. And you said it is modified. You see?
Okay.
So technically, yes, you understand passive voice. What you are not understanding is the exercise. The exercise is we are trying to make passive voice sentences using all the different structures which are possible to use,
Mhm.
which are over here. You can use passive voice in present, you can use passive voice in past, you can use passive voice using have, etc. What I need you to do is to use a passive voice using a modal verb.
Ah, okay, okay.
Your first example was structure 2, was present. Because you said that the experiment is modified. That is correct, but that is not a model.
Uh-huh. Mm,
Then give me a model.
mm. You should be at 7 a.m. at work. No, at your in your office work to call, not to answer the exam.
Okay,
No.
this is not passive voice.
Difícil.
Now
No, I know.
you used a model, but you didn't
Uh-huh.
use a description. Watch these verbs and get some inspiration.
Mm-hmm. Mm, okay.
You got it?
Uh-huh.
Go,
And with modal verbs?
of course.
Mm,
Come on. Not that difficult. You can do this. Use could, you can use should, would.
mm.
You want to think about it?
Uh-huh.
Think about it while we pass to structure 8. Okay? So passing to structure 8 is very, very important for everybody because structure 8 is talking about another application that we don't usually use because we are thinking in Spanish. This structure, structure number 8, number 9, there it is. Context number 8 is a structure that we use for a different past, okay? There is simple past, which is for specific moments in the past. There is experiences in your life, but then there is the other one, which is past before past. This expression requires 2 references into past. One of them happened before the other. For example, talking about the news. There was a reporter in the middle of a protest, and she got shot in the eye. Remember that news? So what was she doing before she got shot in the eye? The answer to that should be expressed with auxiliary had. Answer. The reporter had been inside for 2 hours before she got shot in the eye. I repeat, that the reporter had been shot in the eye before. No, what? The reporter had been in the site. Yes, in the site for 2 hours before she got shot in the eye. Yes, I was disconnected for a second. A structure had or auxiliary had is used to give sequence to the events. What happened first in past is indicated with auxiliary had. So this is similar to gossips. Students who were with me in the last level studied gossips all through the level. Let's try to make one. Give me a demo. Okay, Mitch, you arrived to these lessons. Can you make an example using had?
In past participle, in passive voice, or
Before we let's go with active, and then we can make a passive sentence.
he
You know, you can tell me a story. You can tell me what happened yesterday at the office.
I had hold
I had what?
hold hold
Like this?
no hold
Hold. The past of
hold
tell.
yeah, the past of call.
A call. Okay.
Call.
Called.
Yes, I have called in the morning before when I worked in my
Before-
computer.
Before what again?
I worked in my computer.
Before you worked in your computer. Okay. First, if you say call, you need to tell me who. Call who?
Okay. I have called by my boss.
Eliminate by. Are you saying active or passive?
Okay. I have called to my boss.
Eliminate to. The verb call is transitive. That doesn't need a connector.
I have called my boss. Okay. I
Yep.
have called my boss. I don't remember this.
Don't worry. You forgot. It's Thursday. It's
Yeah.
Thursday and everybody is tired. Oh, yes.
Yeah. I have called
my boss
Huh?
when
Before,
I before
yeah, before you were about to say when.
yeah before I I remember how I worked in my computer.
Perfect. Okay. Now
Yes,
everything is
I had.
perfect.
Uh-huh.
Okay, complete. Let's go.
No, yeah,
Tell me, I had worked.
I had worked. No,
No,
I
I got
had
called.
called my boss
Uh-huh.
before I worked on my computer.
Perfect. 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 What happened after? The verb work is something that you do for a long period of time. There are some verbs that represent a long period of time, but there are some verbs that represent specific moments. You know, for example, is it different to say I work and to say I sat in front of my computer? You know what I mean? Or started working.
Okay.
The definition of work
Okay.
matches, even in Spanish, we don't say before I worked. You know, we need a little bit more specific moments.
Yes.
So what did you do?
Before
after?
I arrived to
Okay.
my work.
Yeah, that sounds better.
But yeah.
That sounds much better. Mhm. Before I arrived to my work. Good. Try again.
I had called my boss before I arrived my work
To my work.
to my work. Sorry.
That's right. That's correct. This specific example is very effective because it can be transformed to passive. You know? So if I ask, for example, Brian, what happens to Mitch's bus this morning?
Um, you want to, you wanna gossip?
No, I don't want to gossip. I want you to tell me what happened to Mitch's boss because she said that she called him or her. So
Uh-huh.
now transform it to passive.
Uh, and can you repeat the story about the boss?
Pay attention. Very, very bad. Mitch, can you repeat your example to Brian?
Yes. I had called my boss before I arrived to my work.
Huh?
Mhm.
So, Mitch boss had been called
Yeah, correct. Correct, correct. Let's
by
write that down. Repeat.
uh, Mitch, but wait, her boss. It's better.
Remember that. Okay, okay. How? That's a good question. That's a good question. What happened when you add the
Mitch's
possessive? Ah, correct.
Mitch's
Which
boss
is bus.
had been called
have been called.
Uh, before she arrived
Mhm.
to her work.
Remember that the word work and home doesn't need an specification. You know, work,
Oh,
bed,
okay.
church, jail, and home. These are specific expressions that don't need a specification.
But it was possessive. Her work is incorrect too.
To her work, yes, of course. Possessives and articles are specifications.
Okay.
So when you say arrive to my work, that
Uh,
is redundant. You only have one job.
or maybe two.
If you have okay, if you have two, then you need to refer to them separately. You say my morning job and my side job, you know, or
Oh,
my usually one is a priority.
okay.
People say my 6 to 9, my 6 to 9, or my 7 to 6, talking about the schedule. You know,
Okay.
that's an specific case. But usually, if you have only one, you just use the word work.
Okay.
Mhm. There
Okay.
you have it. That's it, my people. This is passive. Now, there is a very interesting question that Elsie gave me in the chat. Can you use the word work as passive? No. There is a reason why we made a very specific list about often passive verbs. This list exists because if you go through some of other verbs, some of them cannot go passive. Why not? According to the rules, passive voice is used when you want to emphasize the object, the person who is affected. The problem with the verb work is that it doesn't have an object. If you say, I call you, do I have an object? Do I have a receiver of the action? I called you.
Yes.
Who is the object?
You.
You, correct. If I say, I want coffee, do I have an object? Anyone? So, I want coffee. Do you have an object? Yes or no? The object is the receiver of the action. I want coffee. Do I receive anything here?
Yes, a coffee.
Coffee, exactly. That is the receiver. So when the verb has a receiver, this receiver can become passive. But if I say, I jumped, there is no receiver. I agree. I am going. Some verbs cannot go passive. Why? Because they don't need an object. take a note on this. Passive voice only works with passive verbs. In other words, transitive, when they have an object, sorry, when they need an object. Only the second group can be passive. Questions? Take your questions, guys. You are sleeping. Hello.
I am here, teacher.
Yes, are you there?
Yes.
Well, is
Well,
there a question or anything?
only if I understand well,
Uh,
the list of the verbs that you shared previously, it's the most common that we can use passive voice, right? Or we can use another. Obviously, these verbs that you are sharing in this moment, not, but the others, yes or not. It's the only doubt that I have.
okay. Which verbs, no? Of course,
Yes.
it requires a little bit of comprehension on the context.
Okay.
For example, if you use the verb call,
Mhm.
you know, you need two conditions to make a passive voice. One,
Object.
to validate, yeah, of course, the object, no, because you say, I call my boss.
Mm.
But second, and most importantly, how important is the boss in this case? Who do you want to give emphasis to? If you want to speak emphasis to about the boss, of course you can say the boss was called, parenthesis, by me.
Mhm.
But in what situations does this happen?
Mm,
You know,
no. Yes.
that doesn't happen very often.
Yes.
But if you say the boss was called and he received bad news,
Okay.
in that context, probably I was not the caller, probably was his superior, or he was, I don't know, the marketing department or his mom, you know.
Okay. Okay.
In that context, yes, you can use passive voice. So the most important part about passive is understanding how important is the object of the verb. And the only verbs that have objects are transitive verbs. The others don't have. In this case, we can add work. You see the difference?
Yes.
That's it. So when we are using passive, what you need to understand is the context of the conversation. It's not a grammatical issue. It's a contextual issue. When is it necessary to use passive voice?
Okay. Nice. Thank you.
That's right. That's for everybody. So there we have it. I'm going to give you a little bit of a conversation list that I would like to have with you soon. All these words, all these questions that you have in front are conversation openers to make you use passive. Try to answer any of them using using your natural speech and check if you use passive voice. Okay. Anyway, we are going to try to do this conversation pretty soon. So take a screenshot, take a note on some of the questions that you have in front, because we're going to use them in a conversation. And tomorrow we have listening. So study your video and study your vocabulary. So do you have any question right now?
Can you share the list again? The large?
Which one are you talking about? This one?
Yes.
Cool.
Thank you.
Very nice. That's it. Good job. Good job, everyone. I will see you tomorrow and study your lines, okay?
Okay,
Have a good
teacher.
night.
Good
Go
night.
to rest.
Thank
You
you.
need to rest.
Yes. See
Go.
you.
Bye,
no.
teacher.
Thank
Good
Bye.
night, all.
Bye. Dream with the dreams. Okay. Bye-bye.